Well, it hasn't been the coolest fall so far here in Southern California, but, you know, today we're going to make it that way. We're going to bring things inside for our first ever indoor The Report card here on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Facebook Live page. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rinks at Lakewood Ice. I'm Erik Pessolano. You know Chuck Lejsek. We're only rolling two deep today. There's not three of us.
No Perky. Perky's actually, I think he's in the Great White North or something. Where's he?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he went, but I know he's coaching somewhere.
It's probably Cold's where he's at, so, you know.
Right.
We're feeling it for Mike.
Yeah, so if you tuned in today and are looking for some insightful takes on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League, you're not going to get it. Mike's not here today.
Exactly.
You're just going to be stuck with the two of us. Chuck, this is our October recap show.
True.
We've got 3 shows over the next 4 weeks that we're going to do.
We're going to touch a lot.
Yeah, we are. We're going to preview the Vegas showcase that's coming up next weekend. That'll pretty much be the only. Yeah, that's next Friday.
Oh, my goodness.
That'll be the only week we don't do a show over the next 4 weeks. So it's going to be
busy. As they used to say in Ray Rudolph. Remember the little elf?
It was on TV. Yeah, it was on TV the other night. I DVR'd it. I'll get to it eventually.
October. It's not December, so I apologize. We'll always say that for the December show.
Yeah. Oh, of course you would. Of course you would. Well, we're here at Lakewood. It's one of our few weekends that we do get to have over here, and since all the games are here this weekend, we figured we'd take the show on the road.
That's right.
Today we're going to feature the Bellarmine Bells, of course. They're our next team up on the Division I docket. They're down here in Southern California for the first time this season. It was nice to see them play last night.
No, last night, and actually it was kind of a, you know, they had a tough season last year. But looking at them this season, I was really impressed. They're only rolling 12 guys, I think 12 players over the boards this time down. I'll tell you what, they took care of Edison. I mean, a typical little David Guy type team. They kept their feet moving, and they play from the drop of the puck until the whistle blows, until the final buzzer sounds. And that's what I love about his teams, is that no matter what the score is, they give you 100% all times. I'll tell you one thing, they looked really good last night.
Yeah, they did. They took down the Edison Chargers 3-1. We're going to talk to some of their personnel. We're going to bring them in right now. Of course, head coach David Guy with us from Bellarmine. We've got Cole McGowen and Chris Smails joining us. Gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. Coach, we'll start with you. We're going to have Chuck touch on the travel part of it here in a bit, but let's go right into the game from last night. You guys' first trip down here to Southern California this season. You took care of Edison pretty much with ease. What was your assessment of the game last night?
Well, we had a good effort. We were real happy with it. Obviously, we had a ton of shots. We wanted to see a little bit more out of our guys, but it's tough. Like you mentioned, with the travel coming down here, guys have bust legs. It's hard to get rolling early in that game.
Yeah, and Chuck touched on it just a second ago. You guys shorthanded coming down this weekend, rolling with 12 guys and a couple of goalies. How do you manage that type of situation when you are shorthanded?
Well, it's a challenge. Obviously, we want to try to make sure everybody stays as fresh as possible, and we keep them off the ice as much as we can, right? We know they're going to get a ton of ice time, so we want to try to get them as rested as possible in between. And especially on the D side, with only 4D, it becomes a real challenge to manage, especially if anybody ends up in the box.
You're managing ice time in that situation. Do you have to change up your game plan also, the way you're going to attack the opposition?
No, I mean, we try to focus on details anyway, and in what we do, everything we focus on, like you guys mentioned, is hard work, effort, and really try to up the compete level. So with our guys, we want them to play the same no matter who we have on the ice, and then it really becomes a matter of managing shift length on our end as coaches. We want to make sure that, like I said, that they're not on the ice more than they need to be, get them off when we have the opportunity. All
right, I'm going to open it up to our players over here, Cole and Chris. Either one of you can take this question. What's it like for you guys when you only have 12 players out on the ice? Do you have to take a couple strides less just to keep yourself fresh as the game wears along?
Well, I mean, I would like to say no, because I mean, obviously you don't want to be that guy that's trying to take maybe a couple strides off, because I mean, that's obviously not how you want to be playing the game. But I mean, I think every once in a while in the back of your brain, that is how you're thinking. Is you're like, oh, I still gotta be fresh for the next period, for the next shift, for the next defensive turnover or something. You're always got to be able to kind of get back. But I mean, it's tough. But I mean, I think we were able to do it pretty well, and I think we were all able to keep it going and stay fresh, and we'll see how we do this game.
Yeah, now as a senior, I'm sure you've been in that situation a ton of times over the last 4 years with having to play short-handed. Have you figured out a way to kind of adjust over the years to try to figure out how to handle those situations?
I mean, yeah, I think the experience is definitely something that helps, but I mean, it's never something you can really always be prepared for. I mean, the fact that you're going back to back, you never really have that resting period. It's definitely something that you're always trying to struggle with, is because you're always trying to make sure you're ready to go the next time. So the experience definitely helps, but I mean, it's never something that's going to be something you're ready to do all the time. So.
Right. And Chris, as a sophomore, obviously with just a year under your belt, a little bit newer for you here in the league. What's been your take so far playing up at Division I and the level here in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League?
I just really like the competition we play. It's kind of like every team we play, we have to come out and play them. I mean, there's no weak team in our division. So, I mean, no matter who we're playing, it's basically we have to give 100% no matter what.
You guys have Santa Margarita coming up later today, a game that you'll be able to see right here on Black Dog Hockey later on today. What's your assessment of Santa Margarita? We've seen the Eagles so far this season. They're pretty much tearing through everyone. How do you come out and neutralize a team like the Eagles?
I know there's obviously been a lot of hype for this team. We know they're a very solid team. No matter who they're playing, no matter if they're missing guys, they're always going to come out hard, come out strong, and they got a lot of skill. But playing them, we just got to play our way, and we got to play hard no matter what. We got to stick to our game plan, and we got to take it to them.
And from behind the boards, Coach, same question for you. What do you see in the Eagles? I know we were talking a little bit before the game yesterday about how they're just relentless, but what's your take on Santa Margarita?
Well, Craig does a great job with that team. He's built that program into really one of the premier programs in the league, and if not in the country, right? So for us, the focus really becomes trying to overcome that pressure. That we know they're going to come shift after shift with guys, and they're going to pressure the puck with tenacity that we don't see very often. So it becomes trying to find the holes and again, stick to the details in our game. Really focus on making sure that our guys are playing within our system, that they don't try to overplay and do too much on their own, that they work as a unit and really try to exploit the ice that they do leave available. We know they're going to pressure in certain areas. There's a lot of space still out there, especially on a big rink like this. It helps us open up the ice, hopefully.
I got a question for you guys, and I mentioned at the beginning of the show right there that you guys skate from the drop of the puck. I mean, you guys are going 110% from the drop of the puck until the final buzzer sounds. What's training regimen do you instill on the team to continue this? Honestly, I get tired watching you guys. Honestly, it's really tiring watching you guys because you guys are just buzzing all the time. You guys never stop. What do you guys do?
Well, I appreciate the compliment. I mean, that's a huge compliment to us because that's definitely a big part of what we try to instill in these guys. We really want that work ethic from the start of the game to the last buzzer. We practice 3 times a week. We're very fortunate that we've been able to really up our ice time availability. We have a great dry land program on campus as well with a great trainer who really pushes them. The captains have really stepped up this year too to do a little more dry land on their own. And I think, again, it just comes back to instilling that work ethic, really forcing these kids to understand that they have to rely on outworking teams and the details in their games to be successful against these teams that, are bigger, stronger, faster, what have you, that we face every week.
And I got a question for Chris and Cole. How are you guys received on campus? What kind of support you get from the campus?
Well, it's actually been a bump up this year from last year. I don't know if we got a lot of recognition last year because we're a club sport, not a school sport. And we don't get a ton of kids come to our games, but this year there's been more outreach, and I've been talking to a lot of people trying to get them to come to games, and they see me when I dress up for game days. They're like, "Oh, why are you dressed up?" I'm like, "Oh, hockey game today. You should come check it out."
Cool. You have anything to add on that, Cole?
So not only that, but we also have a new coordinator of hockey operations, Mr. Parasenti, who's also done a really great job of starting to really make us more of a presence on campus. He's started working with the big brothers. He's really done a good job of coordinating things and really making sure that we're actually starting to become a bigger piece on campus. And so a lot of our being more recognition is thanks to him.
Now, one other question for you guys. I know you guys have the travel. Could you guys kind of give me your date? I know you come. Usually you play a Friday night game, then Saturday. Give me kind of your regiment. What daily, what happens on Friday, what you guys do, and then on Saturday, what you guys do. Because you usually play, I think, 1 on Friday, then you'll come back and play 2 on Saturday. What happens between that?
Most of us will probably just go back to the hotel, hang out, maybe watch a movie with our roommates, or just maybe hang out and have some good team time. We usually have a team dinner, maybe a team meeting. And then we'll have breakfast in the morning around 9-ish for today. And then we'll, after the bus on Fridays, when we get here, we'll leave around 7 in the morning. And then when we get here, we'll generally have a dry land to kind of try to shake things loose, get us ready. But other than that, it's mostly just focusing on game time, getting ready before the games, and then doing what we do best.
How do you manage maybe you have to miss school to travel down here for some weekends. Obviously, the last couple seasons have a little bit better. You guys play more of a traditional schedule. You have almost half your games at home now, and then you come down here for almost the other half. How do you manage your time off the ice when you have to complete all your schoolwork and then have to come here and play games and you got to go back home again?
Well, for me, I had a test that I missed yesterday, so I actually took it
live.
early on
You know
Thursday.
that. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I took it early.
It's excused. It's excused.
So I mean, it's really just the communication with your teachers, making sure that you know what you have to do, what you have to get done, and once you know that, the communication part with the teachers is really what's most important.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about thinking ahead for schoolwork, especially we got our schedule a while ago, so you got to think ahead. Like you see, oh, I'm missing that day. I got to tell my teachers before so I can get my schoolwork done and get that all turned in so I don't have to stress about it over the weekend. I can just focus on playing hockey.
That's a great preparation.
And just to add on that, I mean, that's been a big focus for us. Obviously, academics are a big focus for our program, and we've really tried to put ownership on the players since day one that I've been involved, to get them accountable not only to their teachers, but to us as coaches, as individuals, so they don't have their parents to rely on. And we've seen a huge jump with these kids in their academic performance because they have taken that ownership and really taken responsibility for themselves.
David, you've been around 5 years now with the Bellarmine program as head coach. How much of a relief has it been to be able to play a lot of your games at home now and not have to come down here for every single game during the season?
Well, I'll tell you, it's huge, right? Being able to sleep in your own bed, it has a huge amount of value. But I'll tell you, the biggest change, more than anything, is that we're not playing 4-game weekends when we come down here. That was the real killer in the past, where we would come down here on a bus ride Friday, play Friday night, 2 games Saturday, and then an early one on Sunday. Playing 4 games in 36 hours. By that 4th game, the guys could barely stand up.
That's exactly. No, it makes complete sense. I forgot my question. Go ahead and ask the last one.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you guys come down here for 2 games this weekend. We'll see you later on in the year when you come back down here. When you're not down here in Southern California, you take a look at your schedule in the future. How much prep goes into having to get ready to come down here for a game? Are you looking at extra game film? Are you looking at what kind of things do you guys look at in advance to prep for your trips down here?
Well, we're going to end up playing about a 45-game season this year. So 16 of those games are in the Ducks League. And you can imagine we're filling games with AA teams where we can. We also, last season, saw the Sharks jump on board with a high school league. It's nowhere near the same quality of play, but it's still a good practice for us. And it comes back to, in terms of prep, really reinforcing the details in our game and really reinforcing playing against lower level skill, that these guys have to be able to play the same way game in and game out. And we'd love to have more game film, but that's a real challenge, unfortunately, for us to get the film from you guys. We get Black Dog. That's certainly a great advantage for us, but that's all we get for the limited amount that we have down here.
Speaking of Black Dog, great segue. We're going to have the Bells and the Santa Margarita Eagles later today on Black Dog Hockey at 1:05 p.m. That'll be puck drop time here from Lakewood.
I got one other question for you, Coach. Last year you guys seemed a little bit, and I got to be nice, offensively challenged. This year, saw you guys last night. You put 38 shots on the goaltender, and you guys should have had 10 goals. I mean, Dado basically stood on his head to prevent you guys. What's been the change from last year to this year?
Well, I'd love to say that I agree with you that we're less offensively challenged this year. We're putting more shots on net, but we're not scoring anymore. And, there hasn't been a real big change, truthfully. We just have a little more time with the guys, and they're starting to understand how we want them to play. And we feel like we're getting more opportunities to the front of the net, but we still have to find a way to finish. Our numbers, the shots are there, but the goals aren't. Not yet, anyway. They're coming.
It's like baby steps, so you got to get down there. I mean, there were a lot of times last year where Chuck and I noticed we'd be staring on the defensive end for you guys a lot of the time, and this year that's not the case. Cole, what's the biggest change you've seen out on the ice, getting a lot more opportunities? They may not be going in as much as you'd like them to, but you certainly have doubled your shot totals.
Well, I mean, it's a big help because we've always been a defensively minded team, and we've always had that defense-first mentality. But our defense this year has also done a great job of getting the puck up to the forwards. And that transition style of play, with them being able to get the puck up to us, gives us more of an opportunity to take it down and get our shots on net. And, of course, we do need to get the puck in the net more, like Coach was saying. But, I mean, I think that'll come. And, I mean, thanks to the D for getting us the opportunities to do that. So.
I got one other question for you. Was it Gabe Silva? Was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Silva? He wore the hard hat. You guys still carry on that tradition?
Well, sort of, yeah, we do. The hard hat still exists. Unfortunately, last game of the year, we gave it to a player who isn't with us again this year. So we have to get the hat back. So the guys found a new helmet that they've been sharing for the start of this year.
What's the significance of it?
Well, it's clearly going to work, right? They put the hard hat on and do the work that they need to get the job done. And it comes back to that same mentality. Like I said, we really want to try to instill in these kids the value of the hard work that they do.
Oh, good.
And before we let you guys go, we know you got to get ready for the game. I want to touch Cole just for a quick second. Congratulations, you were named Player of the Month in October. I know it's December now, but there's a lot of holiday stuff scheduling conflicts in November. But so congratulations on that. What do you attribute to your hard work out on the ice to get you that award? Just in case you didn't know, I have here for your stats. In that month, you had 4 goals and an assist in just 2 games up against Tahoe up at home to earn you the award. So congratulations. What do you think went into you getting named that honor a couple of months ago?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's just we're all working together, and they're getting me the puck, and I mean we're finding opportunities to get it to the net, and I mean personal success is always a great thing, and a great feeling no matter when it happens. But a lot of that is coming from the teamwork. I mean, I know one of those goals, David took a big hit on the boards, but he chipped the puck out, and I was able to get it and take it in. And it's plays like that where it's just everyone's doing the right thing, playing the right way, and it just ended up being me as the one that's able to put the puck in the net. So.
Yeah, I love this guy. I love him so much. Thank you guys so much for joining us here today. You got a big one coming against Santa Margarita. You're only 2 points behind Orange Lutheran all of a sudden in the league. And also last night, that game doubled as a Caja qualifier for the state championships. So should you guys be able to qualify, what would that mean to the program to get into that state tournament now that it's expanded just a little bit?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, that's our big goal of the year, right? If we can get into the state tournament and then hopefully go on to nationals from there. We came real close last year, and we got a real good taste of it, taking Santa Margarita to overtime in that last game of the round robin last year, and the guys want it. And so it means a lot this year, and especially now that they've opened up the format to qualify, each one of these games becomes really, really important. So we're really excited about our opportunity this year. We feel like we're really close to being able to make that jump into that top group, and it's been a really, really fun year.
Yep, right on the fringe, that's for sure. Well, good luck today against Santa Margarita. Again, Coach David Guy, Cole McGowan, Chris Smails joining us here on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Facebook Live page. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to move along with the show now. We're going to talk our recap as we say goodbye to the Bellarmine Bells today. Thank them for their time.
Good group.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Always love when they come down here to Southern California. Also, real quick, as we move on with the show, I want to give a big shout-out again to Christian Ilten, of course, our technical director, cameraman. He was the color analyst on our broadcast last night for getting this show going. Chuck, let's talk about Division I now.
Okay.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a ton going on.
I mean, every time you look up, you think the standings are expanding. Of course, Santa Margarita is way out in front time being, but everybody else is kind of playing catch-up.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to catch Santa Margarita right now. Coach Craig Johnson has this team firing on all cylinders right now. And you know what? We talked about it yesterday. You know what? They've been held to 3 goals once and 2 goals or 4 goals twice. The rest of the time, they're scoring 7+ right now. Now, one thing that's really underrated is they're not allowing any goals either.
Yeah.
Basically, I think the most goals they've allowed in a game so far has been 2 or 3. It's just amazing. I mean, Coach Johnson, not only does he have an offensive juggernaut, but defensively, I think that's the unsung hero for this squad as well. The goaltending is great, but you have to give the men, the six demon in front credit, because they're preventing shots. They're getting into the shooting lanes, preventing passes, and keeping the puck along the boards. It's very difficult right now to score against Santa Margarita.
Yeah, they're 7-0 so far this year. They have a 7-point lead ahead of Orange Lutheran in Varsity Division I, so they are flat out getting the job done. If we go back to October, which is what we're recapping today, on the report card, the Eagles, they were 2-0. They beat Edison 8-2 back on the 4th of November, and then 6 days later beat Orange Lutheran 9-1.
Yeah,
it's like getting back to the old days.
Well, exactly. And I'm wondering if that's just kind of like a rub-in for, the couple years that Orange Lutheran had won too. So basically, I mean, that was a statement. I think, statement game basically telling them, I think they're 2-0 against Orange Lutheran now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. It was 8-1 and then 9-1 or something.
Yeah.
So basically, they've scored combined 17 goals against Orange Lutheran now. And it's a statement game saying, hey, guys, I think the changing of the guard's back, and we're on top. This is going to be a very, very tough team, not only in the Ducks League, but this is a possible national perennial power.
Yeah, just I remember they fell just a little bit short of another national championship last year. They lost in the championship game.
I think this team's a lot better. This team's a lot better. So,
yeah, they might be. A couple of players to highlight from that month for Santa Margarita. Jake Orsini had a hat trick in that game against Edison. Nick Mouthy had a hat trick against Orange Lutheran. Tyler Badami had a hat trick in that game as well. They went double hattie against the Lancers.
Man, and that's the other thing. You have Badami and who's the other kid? The two freshmen. So, I mean, they just keep building and building. I mean, yeah, you'll lose Solani and you'll lose a couple other kids, but it's just like, replenishing the system already. And, hey, you know what? They're going to have this year under their belt. They're going to be twice as strong as sophomores and moving on up. So it's going to be scary times for the rest of the league come through.
Yeah, can't leave out Jake McAwecki either. He had 4 assists against Orange Lutheran in that one. All right, moving on. We know that Santa Margarita plays later today. They won that J. Sarah Thanksgiving Invitational last week, too.
The elite division, too.
The varsity elite division, yeah.
So that's, like I said, the rest of the nation, you're talking teams from Canada. I mean, you're not talking, these aren't pushover teams. You're talking elite teams coming down from Canada.
Well, they beat Steinbach from Winnipeg in that championship game.
Exactly. And not only the U.S., but you got Canadian teams, too. And I'm sure they're shaking their heads going, how do you stop this team, just like the rest of the league is right now.
Yeah. So Orange Lutheran's in second place right now. They're 7 points behind the Santa Margarita Eagles. They were 2-1 in the month of October. Of course, their lone win against Bellarmine back on November the 3rd, or their 2 wins, rather, against Bellarmine on November the 3rd. And the 4th, they got the doubleheader sweep of the Bells and then lost that game to Santa Margarita. But, they go to Old Faithful. Jake Furry had a couple of goals and an assist in that first game against Bellarmine, and then a couple of goals against Bellarmine in game number 2. So he's always the guy, the go-to.
Jake Furry equals STUD, stud. Honestly, this kid, when has the kid not scored a big goal? It started from his freshman year where he scored the lone goal against Santa Margarita to give him the championship in the league. Scored a couple big goals last year. There, he's a junior now, right? Or no, he's senior now. Yeah, senior now.
Senior.
Yeah, he scored 2 that overtime winner against Santa Margarita. He had an overtime goal earlier this year as well. I mean, what else can you say? He knows when to put the puck in. He's big at all the right times. He possibly is my MVP candidate right now.
Yeah, I don't really think there's a whole lot of doubt about that. Santa Margarita far and away the best team in this league, but best individual player might be Jacob Furry. Moving down the list, you just saw him here on the report card on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Facebook Live page. The Bellarmine Bells, 1-2 in the month of October. They had a win over Damien and a couple of losses against Orange Lutheran. But we saw them get back on track yesterday. They had lost 3 of their last 4, but they beat Edison last night. And now they're in 3rd place. They're just 2 points behind Orange Lutheran in varsity Division 1.
Well, this team is, like I mentioned before, as I was telling Coach Guy, this team works their tails off. They the drop of the puck, and I sound like a broken record, but you get tired watching them. Honestly, I don't understand how, especially with a collective group of 12 players. I mean, other teams are rolling 17, 18, 19 players off the bench. Yeah. This team comes down with 12, plus the goalies, of course, but you're basically just throwing out 2 shifts there, and these guys are playing lights out. Like I said, I get tired just watching them, and it's a credit to Coach Guy and the conditioning program they have right now. You have the leader like Cole McGowan as well, and you know what? The first time I've seen him, man, has he stepped up his game as well. So you want to talk about potential MVPs, you say Jacob Furry, Cole McGowan. He's not only can he put the puck in the net, but he can dish it out the dimes as well.
We didn't even mention their goaltender, Conlon Mann.
Exactly.
And what he's done. He was 2-1 in that month.
No, okay. No, and on top of we saw him yesterday, he very quietly, he gave up a goal, I think, to Osterkamp with 6.5 seconds left. But other than
on a breakaway.
On a breakaway, exactly. Yeah, and it barely trickled through, if I recall. But still, the goaltending's there. The defense, they did a great job. I want to say they had, 19 shots, 18 shots? Edison didn't have that many shots. And once again, defensemen getting in the shooting lanes, keeping the puck along the boards. It's very, and I'm not taking any credit away from the goaltending because he made some great saves, but as well, it's great when you have D-men that know what they're doing. And, Cole mentioned earlier that they're also now being able to move the puck up to their, talented offensive forwards, and they're actually creating a forecheck now, too. This team's going to be dangerous. I think it's kind of like, Perky's old J. Sarah teams. The more and more they build, the better and better they're going to get come playoff time. That's when you want your teams peaking right there.
Yeah, we'll see the Bells a little bit later on today on Black Dog Hockey. Don't forget to click on over later on at 1 p.m. for coverage of that game. The 2 of us knuckleheads will be on that call, so you'll have a lot of fun listening to us ramble on for for 2 hours. The J. Sarah Lions come in at 4th place right now in Division 1. They were 1-1 in October, had a win over Edison just before Halloween. They lost to Damien a week later. But, Blake Reed, Jake Hager, Mikey Pellegrino, a couple of points each throughout that span. And just like we say, as much as it is with Orange Lutheran, J. Sarah's the same. They go back to Old Faithful.
No, exactly. I mean, of course you have Blake Reed, but you know what? Who's really picking it up? And I could sit there and talk about. I mean, what would we call him? I haven't even gave him the nickname. We had the sophomore sensation, the freshman phenom. I'm looking for the junior. I'm trying to get something that goes with junior, and I'll figure it out before our next broadcast with him. So hang on there. So we'll figure something out. But on top of it, not only Reed, but I'll tell you who's really stepped up his game this year. I mean, besides Jake Hager, Jake Hager is always a solid. And what I like about Jake Hager is that Coach Noviello, he was playing forward last year. Now all of a sudden it puts him on the D, and he's playing lights out defense as well. And it's great, and especially when you have a guy like Hager that can move the puck up for you. Yeah. But on top of it, Mikey Pellegrino, oh my gosh, has his game been lifted, elevated? And you want to talk about, I keep on, mentioning every team has its MVP candidate. You know what? We've mentioned Furry, we've mentioned McGowen, and I'm telling you another one. And this kid right here, Mikey Pellegrino, he plays lights out. I don't think there's a game that we haven't done yet where he's been at least one of the top 3 stars.
Yeah, and he may not light up the scoreboard.
No, but it's just everything else he does. He does every. I mean, the unnoticeable things. Most fans or something like that. But he's digging in the corners. He's making the big hits. He's a huge check, winning faceoffs, all the little things that really you don't see on the stat sheet. But Pellegrino, he is a force to be reckoned with. Definitely an all-star season for him.
Absolutely. Moving on down the list here, we talk about real quick, J. Sarah. Next time we see them, the sun will be rising over Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Early in the morning next Saturday, a week from today.
Oh, I thought we had Sunday. Okay, Saturday.
Yeah, we have them Saturday morning. They'll be taking on Las Vegas United, the Division II team. It'll be a crossover game.
That'd be interesting, yes.
Yeah. It's not a league game. Won't count the league standings. It's just for the showcase itself. So we'll have them early Saturday morning, and then we'll see them again on Sunday morning as well as they take on the Edison Chargers. And that will also be a league game. That'll be a big league game to end our coverage out in Vegas next weekend.
That's the one I was thinking about. Boy, they have both early games then. My goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, luck of the draw. They do have a night game on Saturday night against Damien as well, so that'll also be a big one. Speaking of the Spartans, they were 1-1 back in October. They defeated J. Sarah 5-3 on November the 4th. They lost to Bellarmine in their other game, but Seth Davis is certainly the one who shines for this Damien team. 2 goals and 2 assists in that game against J. Sarah.
No, exactly. Seth Davis, he's kind of the straw that stirs the drink, and I'm trying to think of the other one. It's eluding me. Numbers, is it 2 or 6? I'm trying to think. I can't remember the kid's name right now. Wow, thanks. Thanks for the help. Usually, I usually count on you for that.
We should probably start having production meetings before we do this show, so me and you can be on the same page.
Exactly. But on top of it, I mean, Coach Shear kind of the same way. I mean, this team, for making that jump from D3 to D1, they're doing a heck of a job right now. And they're making themselves. I mean, Coach Shear has his team competitive. They're not getting blown out if at all. Honestly, I mean, no, they only allowed. I want to say they only allowed 3 goals against Santa Margarita. I think they lost 3-1 against Santa Margarita. I want to say that was the one.
And they had that other game where it really wasn't all that close. But the one you're talking about, yeah.
So I mean, I think they're making a good doing a good job with the transition right now. And once again, one of those teams you're going to have to watch towards the end of the season. And I think that's going to be one of those teams that could be peaking at the right time.
Next time we'll see the Spartans will be in Vegas. We'll have them on Friday night against Pacific Ridge, another crossover game there. But
That'll be interesting. I'm going to like that. That's going to be a very interesting
game. And they'll have that big game at 4:45 on Saturday against J. Sarah. All the games we're mentioning as far as the Vegas coverage can be seen live on Black Dog Hockey beginning next Friday at 1 p.m. Central Cathedral and Las Vegas United will kick off our coverage, and that is a league game as well. But we'll get down into the lower divisions here in just a bit. We talk now about the Edison Chargers. Last time we saw them was on the report card right here. As far as the month of October is concerned, right after our last show, when they lost that game 2-1 to J. Sarah, they grinded out in that one. Although they were winless in October, they lost to J. Sarah and they lost to Santa Margarita. They looked pretty good in that game against J. Sarah. Nobody looks good against Santa Margarita, so you can toss that one aside. Yesterday wasn't the greatest game for them. We talked about it. I don't know, maybe it was coming here to Lakewood. later start time than normal. But other than that, Edison, first year in Division I, still trying to learn the ropes. Had that good game against Jay Sarah, even though they came up on short.
Well, and I think the whole thing was with that is I still think they're adjusting to the speed right now, and we touched with that when we had them on our previous report card. But I still think it's an adjustment to the speed. You and I mentioned yesterday on our broadcast that they were just that click behind, that half second, millisecond, whatever it was, and the passes weren't being completed, or they're just offsides, or something was just off by a tad bit. And it was showing they weren't moving their feet yesterday. And I think, that they're going to learn, and as they grow, hey, to win the games, you're going to have to move their feet. The third period was a lot better than the first two periods. The first two periods, they looked, I'll be honest, they looked lethargic. Honestly, they were just not in sync whatsoever. Third period, they were right there. They ended up getting a goal at the end, Osterkamp scoring that goal. But I still think, this team is, and don't forget, this is Perky's dark horse as well. So, he sees a lot more in teams than we do, so I trust him. I think this team could be relevant come playoff time as well.
And wrapping up Division I, the Tahoe Hockey Academy 0-2 in the month of October. They had just a couple of games against the Bellarmine Bells. They did not play any games in the month of November, so they're going to be getting after it next week, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
They're going to play Jay Sarah, 2 weeks. They're going to play Jay Sarah right on the sheet of ice right behind us here. It'll be the second of 3 meetings they have with the Lions. Zach Savarese had the only goal of that weekend up in Bellarmine, and they've gone through some personnel changes. Remember, they started the year with a couple of teams. They condensed it back down to one, so maybe some chemistry, things that need to be squared away for Tahoe here early in the season.
No, exactly. I believe there's some ejections or suspensions as well, or stuff like that, and I think that's kind of, it's hard to create team chemistry when you're missing your proper personnel and stuff like that. And this team, they're going to figure it out. Obviously, it's called the Tahoe Hockey Academy, so, what do they do? They practice hockey. Last year, and of course at the end of the year, no team wanted to play them, and they were a very, very tough team. Orange Lutheran had a tough time with them. They made the final, or was it semifinal?
Final.
Yeah, they made the finals. Game. They made the finals last year. So honestly, this team is. I'm not worried about this team. This is actually my dark horse still, and I'm not looking good. I make fun of Perky with his pick, and so I'm not making fun of Perky with his pick because I like Edison as well. But Tahoe, they just got to get some things together, and I just think it's a matter of chemistry issues. And you know what? Maybe that month off I think is going to help because they're going to sit there, practice the whole time. They'll be together the whole time, and it's going to help the team. I'm sure they've attended a couple tournaments as well and played their games outside the league. So I think their chemistry build-up's going to be there, and it's just going to help the squad even more.
Yeah. So there's your Varsity Division I recap here on the report card on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Facebook live page. I'm Erik Pessolano. That's Chuck Lejsek. Mike Perkins not with us this weekend, but we'll see him in Vegas. He's going to be joining us for the trip out to the desert so we can call some games for you over on Black Dog Hockey. Let's move to Varsity Division II. Now, Capistrano United, of course, is at the top of the chain. They're a point ahead of St. John Bosco, and that's a lot of that is due to the fact that they got the player of the month in Division II in Garrett Kennedy, their goaltender, who was lights out, had a shutout in that month against Central Cathedral, had a win against Pacific Ridge, and then they had they had that win against Pacific Ridge in overtime, and Kennedy is your player of the month in Division II. Could not join us today on the report card. You want to know why? He's taking his SATs. How can you complain about it? You can't complain about that.
I would. No, I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. I'm seriously teasing on that.
Yeah, no. Captain Academia over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cal State Fullerton. That's exactly. So you're one to talk to, so I would be careful with that as well. So.
Kennedy, the junior, attends Tesoro High School. Good luck, Garrett, on your SATs today.
Definitely.
But congratulations on Player of the Month. Coyotes 3-0 in October. Zach Lane, Joey Holman, Ben Snyder all getting it done for Capistrano United.
Let's touch on Ben Snyder. Remember when he used to be that third line, and he was that, and I call him the bee in the bonnet because that's what he used to do. He used to irritate, aggravate. Yep. He'd be, and I don't want to insult him, but he's that Sean Avery type of player, basically, where he did anything to get under your skin the first couple of years, and what would happen is he'd draw penalties. This year, he's more of the leader right now. I believe he's wearing the C, if I'm not mistaken. I know he has an A. I want to say he was wearing the C as well. But still, Ben Snyder, what else can you say about this kid? We've watched this kid grow from the basically the inset of the I think it was the first year Kappa United joined was the 3 years ago, his freshman year. But watching him in his senior season right now, he's a joy to watch, and it's fun to watch him lead this team.
6 different goal scorers for them in their win over Las Vegas United back on November the 17th rather. They
They know how to
spread
move
it
the
out.
puck, honestly.
Yeah.
And that shows you it's selflessness as well. There's no selfish players. Basically, they trust each other. They know what, hey, they find they go to their open position, find the shot, and, I like the way, and that shows they have a ton of assists, too. If you look at their stat sheet, they have a ton of assists, and it just shows that they have trust in one another, and I think it's a great asset to the coaching staff.
Next time we'll see Capistrano United will be in a couple of weeks. It'll be over at Anaheim Ice on December the 16th, taking on the Giant Killers in La Jolla Country Day. We'll talk about the Tories in a little bit. We'll talk about that Giant that they did kill, St. John Bosco. They're in second place right now in Division 2.
Yeah, well,
that sounded weird to say.
I know. Oh, wow. My gosh. I'm trying to get that one out of my head. Yeah. So.
Now, they remind us a lot of their top line.
Yeah.
They weren't there in that game. The Braves, they went 1-1 in the month of October. They had a 13-0 win against Poway. They lost 4-2 to La Jolla Country Day. But, Preston Park, you saw them in that game against Poway, the 10-point game with 7 goals and 3 assists leading the way for Bosco.
Yeah, I was going to say three words that describe Preston Park. Video game numbers. Honestly, it's like you're watching like a thing of old Nintendo hockey where you'd have like Gretzky scored 9 goals.
I was
in
NHL 99.
Yeah. That was somewhere around, Super Nintendo. I'm sorry, somewhere around there. Super Nintendo, right around there anyway. But, maybe early PlayStation, but still the same thing. Honestly, Preston Park, that was just, he tied actually, was it Furry's record? Furry actually had the record, but it's not. We saw Furry.
It was Farron.
Farron.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's right. Oops. Slip right there. Austin Farron right there actually had 7 goals, and who was that against? Was that against Santa Margarita? I forgot.
I don't remember the game.
I can't remember who.
It was so long ago.
Yeah, it was.
It
was the first game Orange Lutheran ever played. I do recall that. They lost 8-7. And I remember that Megan Browning had 57 saves, but I remember Austin Farron. But besides that, let's go back to Preston Park. That was the best performance we've seen by a player in, the last 8 years or something like that. Absolutely dominating. And he didn't do it against a slouch either. Poway's a decent team. And it just shows just how this team moves the puck. You see the way they drop the puck into open spaces. It's just they know where each other's at all times.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They could skate blindfolded, honestly, and I think they could beat teams still by 5-6 goals. It's amazing the way this team moves the puck and what they shoot. And their defense is just outstanding because they dominate puck possession the whole time.
Right. They only had 11 players in that game against La Jolla Country Day and still kept it close for quite a bit of time. Next time Bosco's on the ice, they're going to have Central Cathedral on December 16th down in San Diego at San Diego Ice Arena. La Jolla Country Day comes in next. They're in third place right now, and they've always been a grinded-out team. We know about them. Sophomore Henry Little, junior Brady Zagras, they hooked up a couple of times in that game against St. John Bosco and hooked up in their lone loss to Capistrano United back in October as well. So La Jolla Country Day is sitting in third place, and all of a sudden the Coyotes and Braves are looking at the Tories over their shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? That's what I like about these San Diego teams. They kind of sneak up on you a little bit, and they're kind of like the great white lurking at the bottom of the ocean. You don't know when they're going to strike, and obviously St. John Bosco's found out when they're going to strike because they lost to them 4-2. But still, no matter if you're missing a line or not, because we've seen that Bosco team missing a line and they still dominated. Missing some of their top players and they still dominated.
Right.
But it's a good thing. And they're the Tories, right? Or
yes.
The Tories. Kudos to them for coming down and being, like you say, want to give the biblical refs, and David took out his smooth stone and killed the Philistine, whatever it was at the time, I forget. But anyway, David Goliath, basically. Sorry.
You can catch Chuck's history show.
Exactly. But the same point is, it's a credit to the coaching staff as well. That's a well-coached team. Great defensively as well. Not too offensively minded, but you know what? That team, I want to say that's the team that gave Bosco fits last year too.
No. So the rest of the San Diego clubs are right in order. They're in Division 2. Central Cathedral, North County, Poway, and Pacific Ridge are all 5 San Diego teams are in order there from 3 through 7 in Varsity Division 2. Central Cathedral was 1-1 in the month of October. They had a loss to North County. They beat Pacific Ridge. Remember, Pacific Ridge made some noise last year in Division 3. They move up to Division 2 this year. Right now, sitting in 6th place. Or 7th place rather in Division 2, so they're kind of like an Edison team who moved up a division and are trying to find their legs.
Well, exactly, and you know what? The transition always moving on. When you move up the division, always tough. The speed, the adjustment to the speed of the game, I think, is the biggest key to any. divisional jump right there. And you know what? I think they've handled it well so far. So, credit Poway for doing that. And you know what? I still think that sooner or later they're going to come around. They're going to get it. And it usually takes 2 or 3 months before these kids get on it and realize, okay, this is the level I have to play. They make that commitment, and it's a whole different story come the second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And then rounding out Varsity Division 2 is Las Vegas United. Congratulations to the Golden Knights. They got their first win of the season in the month of October. They beat Poway in overtime back on November the 18th. So the Golden Knights rather are on the board. Hunter Bartow, he kind of shined.
Wow, yeah.
In the whole weekend that Vegas was down here. Sophomore had a hat trick against Poway.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely dominating. Now Bartow was. And I like that line. I forget who's the other kid he plays with, but they absolutely did an outstanding job. Kept him in a lot of games right there. Goaltending is outstanding as well. This team is still, like I said, they only have one win. I think they had their first win.
Yeah, that was their first
win. But I think there's going to be several more coming, in the coming months. And come playoffs, watch out for them as well.
Tonight's going to kick off our Vegas showcase coverage in Las Vegas next Friday at 1 o'clock against Central Cathedral. That is a Division II league game, so a big one there. It'll be the first home game ever in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League for the Golden Knights. I'm sure they're going to be excited.
No, exactly.
We'll be excited to be out there to cover that game for you over on Black Dog Hockey. We move to Varsity Division 3. We're going to start in the Coast View Conference as we're getting ready to wrap up our show here on the report card. We went long today. Boy,
my goodness,
we killed a lot of time.
Yeah.
We're not used to this.
Yeah, we
it's
don't.
like
It's
like we know what we're doing.
So let's have the things. All right, what do we talk about? Yeah, look at the skaters out. No, we're kidding. But exactly so now.
Yeah, we got a nice ambiance going on here in Lakewood here today. That's for certain. The Beckman Patriots 3-0 in the month of October. Los Al Servite, Las Vegas, all victims of the Patriots. Patrick Gardner, the senior, had a hat trick against Los Alamitos in that win. Every time we see Beckman take the ice, it's no shock to us that they just go out there and they absolutely get the job done. I don't think, maybe with the exception of Santa Margarita, that there's a better passing team in the entire league, all divisions.
No, I agree. Maybe also St. John Bosco. Yeah. But besides that,
I would argue they're a better passing team than St.
really,
John Bosco. I would argue that
they're close. I'll tell you what, they've caught the eye of Commissioner Matt Blanchard because you always see him at the games too. So that's kind of interesting as well. But the same point is this Beckman team is just dominating. And Gardner, he's one of 3 Gardners on that team, is he not? Yeah. So basically, you got the Gardner. I know they're not, but you don't call them the Gardner triplets. They're kind of the backbone of this team. And coach is father too, if I'm correct, right? So. I mean, it's a strong program for Beckman. I actually see in this team possibly making the jump to D2 next year.
I wholeheartedly agree with that statement, and we probably see that happen as soon as next season. 54 goals scored on the season for Beckman. Yeah. They are first in Division 3, obviously, in that category. They're second in all of varsity behind St. John Bosco in goal scoring, and they've only given up 9 goals, which is tied for second, again, in all of varsity, just behind Santa Margarita, who's only allowed 8 goals. So far this season. Moving on down the list, the Los Alamitos Griffins 1-2 in October. They lost to Beckman and Bishop Amat, a couple of tough teams there who were both undefeated for a while in varsity. Did get a win over Las Vegas on October the 17th. Matthew Cornish, the sophomore from, and I need to get this in there because you know my affiliations. He's a Pacific guy.
Exactly.
All right, he's a Mariner also. Yeah. Had a goal and 3 assists in that win against Las Vegas.
No, and Los Alamitos. I mean, we've always seen them. They made the jump between D2 and D3 all the time. Of course, one of my rivals, and it's kind of tough. No, I'm teasing. But this team, they're perennially strong no matter what division they play in. They have that great. They're a hard-hitting team, and Mananula still plays with them, right? Yeah, I want to say he's like a 7th-year senior, but that kid can honestly, he's going to jump up that level too. Keanu is an absolute stud for this team. It's going to be interesting to see, especially behind his leadership, come playoff time, how far this team can advance.
Huntington Beach comes in 3rd place in the Coast View Conference. They won their lone game in October. They beat Santa Margarita. They had 4 players with at least 2 goals in that game, and Chris Basteria, the junior, had a hat trick in that one.
I think I've seen them. We've seen them once.
I think we've seen them one time so far this season. It was a game against Upland Christian Academy.
So it's this team. We got to wait and see. I wish I could say more about it, but I do remember Basteria. I mean, this team is kind of. They made the jump from JV last year. Was it? Yeah. So they're back in the varsity division. They used to play D2. Was it? Were they always?
I think they were in D2.
Yeah, they made always to D2. So this team's. It's good to see this team on the climb, and you know what? D3, as we know. when playoff time comes, everything's up for grabs when it comes to, especially in D3 when these teams play.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just teasing.
Don't forget, coming up February 7th, also on Black Dog Hockey, it'll be the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League All-Star Games live from Honda Center. We're going to be there with coverage.
We got a little tease from that last night. I like the. Am I allowed to say it on with the?
No, not yet.
I can't.
We still haven't confirmed.
Okay, but
How
I
we're
like
gonna reveal the players.
No, I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the uniforms.
Oh, that. Both things will be done at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Should I point it out like that?
Yes. All right.
Okay.
That's fine. No, but Commission touched on it a little bit. I'm kind of looking for it. Last year, it's going to be very, very tough to top last year's with the eggplant and the teal and stuff. Going back to the original Mighty Ducks, I'm interested in Commission's promising it's gonna be on par with that. So I'm very interested to see what goes on with these uniforms.
Some ideas floating around there. We'll find out soon enough. He talked about it. The ballots for the coaches were due yesterday, so it's already selection process time.
No voting for us anywhere.
Okay. We'll talk about that when we wrap this up. We do have one game for you today on Black Dog Hockey in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. Bellarmine takes on Santa Margarita at 1:05 p.m., so click on over to bdehockey.com for coverage on that game. The two of us will be there. Christian's going to be along for the ride as well. Should be a lot of fun. Special thanks, as always, goes out to Art Trottier from the Anaheim Ducks and to our commissioner, Matt Blanchard, who is noticeably absent today. I didn't have my director.
I know. What's going on with that? I was kind of shocked, too.
I'll yell at him later.
Okay,
about
that's fine.
why.
Okay, yeah.
I guess he deserves to have a day off every now and again. Yeah,
family time, my goodness. Yeah, so. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing.
Goodness. To Andy
what's that, a pink slip flowing over here? I'm sorry.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. They put it in your windshield out in the parking lot. To Andy Dickerson from Black Dog Hockey, want to thank him.
From the mothership, yes.
While we do stream this on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Facebook Live page, all the equipment that we use is from Black Dog Hockey. So they certainly are the number one reason why we're able to do
we're going to see he's going to, when it goes back on to BD or BDH now, Black Dog Hockey, there's going to be actually some B-roll footage being thrown in there as well to, correspond
to
with
clean all this mess up that we cause every time we do this live.
Whenever we screw up or to get our ugly mugs off the camera, he's gonna, so you don't have to see us all the time. He'll insert some footage of what we're talking about. So it's always good.
So basically, what you'll see once this thing is completely edited is just these three guys that were talking earlier.
Exactly.
And all this part will be. It'll be about a 20-minute show.
We're gonna have like they do with the mob bosses and stuff like that. Exactly.
Yeah, because nobody wants to see or hear anything we have to say. Oh, my goodness. For our technical director and cameraman, Christian Ilten, I'm Erik Pessolano. He's Chuck Lejsek. We're going to say so long for now from the Rinks at Lakewood Ice for this edition of the Report Card. Once again, thank you to the Bellarmine Bells, David Guy, Cole McGowen, and Chris Smails for showing up and sitting down with us for a little bit to talk about their program. Our next show is going to be on December the 16th, so the week after we're in Vegas. We're going to recap everything that happened in Vegas.
We're going to have like a 3-hour show with that one. But
that might be an extended version. We're going to be back in Anaheim for that show. So also, how can I forget? We need to thank everybody here at Lakewood.
Yes.
Because when we got here today, everything was all set up and ready to go in this spot.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
To try to get everything going for our show here
Austin,
today. So
watch out. You got competition.
Oh, he's aware. We let him know about
really?
it.
Oh, good, good.
I'm Erik Pessolano. He's Chuck Lejsek. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Report Card here on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Facebook Live page. We'll see you from Vegas on Friday over on Black Dog Hockey, and we'll see you back for the Report Card on December 16th. So long, everybody. Have a good weekend.